This might just be the most fun and effective hunter build I have ever played. It's not Orpheus rig spam or another Celestial Nighthawk for like the 1000th time. This one is a combination of the two most powerful sidearms in existence, the exotic to double their damage output, and a lot of spinny boys. Yep, trust me, a lot of spinny boys. To really test this build, since it was once sent to me by the famous speedrunner Nozie, I decided to put it through the grueling task of a Wave 50 Legend Onslaught. No changing up weapons or subclass throughout, and it thrived. The ability loop was fluid and pretty much always available, and for weapons of choice, the previously mentioned sidearms with the semi-attrition Strand rocket launcher had all types of enemies covered, but that final warning is a weird one. However, when used correctly, it is the best primary weapon in the game. Not only does it apply Unravel to targets hit with its fully charged burst, which will be critical for synergy in the build, but its damage is insane. A video by Llama showed it to be the best primary ammo damage option outside of Lucky Pants rotations. However, with Mechanier's Tricksleeves enabled, it will surpass even those. You can consider it a little bit like a fusion rifle, in terms of charge up and burst damage, though could still be used like a regular sidearm, and you will have the best results using a combination of the two. A quick pro tip for most DPS, you don't really want to wait for a full charge. Instead, just wait for the red targeting symbol to appear, and then fire from there, but if you do need a source of Unravel, this will only proc on a full charge. Indebted Kindness is one of those which has become more and more popular since its release, and for good reason. It has a stacked perk pool, great ammo economy, and can take out both minor and major enemies quickly. With this build, it actually ends up being a little bit of a role reversal between primary and special weapons, where Indebted Kindness does a really good job at taking out red bar enemies, especially with the role I have on it with Volt Shot, while Final Warning is more so suited to taking out major enemies with its high burst damage. But realistically, either will work fine for either. Semi-attrition I used because, well, there's not really that many more options in Strand rockets, but it's not bad at all now. With Field Prep and Bipod, you are looking at a total of 18 rockets in reserves. Again, these can be freely spammed into whatever targets you need to, as well as still being reasonable DPS. If you are looking for strictly boss DPS, it's Cataphract all the way. This grenade launcher is still incredible, with the only issue is it's from Trials of Osiris. But that's just the weapons. The star of the show here is all that Strand Hunter has to offer, and it is quite a lot. First up, Whirling Maelstrom. Any tangle destroyed will turn into an enemy seeking Beyblade, and these do so much, for absolutely zero effort. The best part is how many ways you have to generate a tangle, since one spawns on any enemy defeated while suffering a Strand debuff. And here's all the ways you can do that. Any enemy hit with a fully charged Final Warning shot. Any enemy hit with the Strand melee Threaded Needle. Any enemy hit with your grapple grenade. And even any enemy hit with the Whirling Maelstrom itself. And for this season, there's also the mods Unravelling Orbs and Horde Shuttle for good measure. Basically, you will be getting a tangle on cooldown pretty much every time, and that tangle will be doing quite a lot. Also, normally I'd recommend against stealing teammates' tangles too, since it's a bit rude. But here I will make an exception. After all, yours will probably be getting much more use out of them. The other aspect is a lot more personal preference. I like Ensnaring Slam, as it's good crowd control and gives a way to stagger unstoppable champions. And it does provide to spend another Strand debuff. But Threaded Spectre is nice too, especially for survivability as you will be in close quarters. Widow's Silk is also pretty decent, but I'm not really that mega on this one, unless you plan on sharing a grapple point with teammates for quick reloads. In that case, absolutely go with it. Otherwise, you will be getting grenade energy back fast enough to not really need 2 charges. The Strand Super is not to be ignored too. It's surprisingly potent. It's a roaming one, so maybe not the best against bosses, but it's certainly passable. But against non-boss enemies, it does more than enough. Remember that during Super you also have unlimited grapple grenades and ensnaring slams for movement. So onto the fragments. First up, Thread of Warding. It's just because Woven Mail is too good to pass upon, and we'll be generating a lot of orbs which will enable this. Thread of Continuity. This build has ways to apply Unravel, Sever and Suspend. This fragment makes them all last 50% longer, and can come in clutch when you need a way to keep an Unravel train going. Thread of Generation. This is another one of those which is just kind of too good to pass up on. Damage from any source will recharge grenade energy, and since this build is doing a lot of smaller damage chunks in rapid succession, you will see huge grenade energy returns at all times. Finally, Thread of Ascent. Activating the grenade will instantly reload equipped weapons, as well as providing handling, reload and aerial effectiveness bonuses. This one's actually especially useful for rocket or grenade launcher dumping. Now a bit more on the Mechanier's Tricksleeves. These are obviously here for Sidearm synergy, since I have two of them, but there's a right and wrong way to use this. The passive effect of Sidearms of increased reload and handling is nice to have, but the main exotic perk comes in doubling Sidearm damage when swapping to one whilst critically wounded. This can be used while in combat in a pinch, but it will only activate upon swapping Sidearms. So if you ever see your health reach the red critical point, swap Sidearms. You can even swap straight back if you want to continue using the same weapon. The damage buff will remain until health recovers, but can be extended beyond that point with further Sidearm final blows. So how I said that Final Warning was already a good primary damage option at 600k in a 12-second window, if Tricksleeves are active, this goes up to 1.2 million, surpassing even all Lucky Pants options. There's also a way to get this perk active on, I guess, semi-demand. The Indebted Kindness will deal a small amount of self damage if its explosion is close enough to you. Now the issue is, you will not be able to proc Tricksleeves with self damage alone, but you can lower your own health to almost critical and then get tagged by an enemy. That will work just fine. Though with an aggressive playstyle you probably won't need to do this all that much. Finally, armor mods. There's not really all that many requirements here, but there is one which will work differently than expected, and that is the Helmet mod Special Ammo Finder. This will generate special ammo on kills with primary weapons, but it will also activate on Indebted Kindness. I guess that's because it's classed as a sidearm, which is a primary weapon. Either way, this gives the Indebted Kindness a way to feed ammo to itself, and should absolutely be used, alongside Harmonic Siphon and Arc Siphon. Arm mods Heavy Handed is a natural fit here, and will make an additional orb on both powered melees or grapple melee kills. Use this alongside Harmonic Loader. With a chest slot, just run resist depending on what type of enemy you are facing. Legs, I like to run a single copy of Better Already, as recovery options are quite limited on Strand, and since there will be a lot of orbs generated, why not use this? And of course double Strand Surge to boost the weapon damage of Final Warning and any Strand Heavy. Class item, use Reaper for additional orbs, and Time Dilation for longer surge duration. And so there you have it. In my opinion, this is the most fun and effective way I have played Strand Hunter so far, and does not look to be receiving any nerfs in the future or have major artifact dependency, so should be useful in the long term. Thank you for watching.